Please.
For which movie?
Let's address the elephant in the room. I'm the hottest person in the world.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business.
They said she was going to be Disney's next big thing, a talented newcomer set to carry on the legacy of an 80-year-old fairy tale. Yet, in a shocking twist, Rachel Zegler's dream role became a lightning rod for the fiercest fan backlash Disney has seen in decades. Leaked group chats, provocative interviews, and an internet meltdown now threaten to topple not only Rachel's once bright future, but possibly an entire era of Disney storytelling. Because when you mock the audience that crowned you, the fall from grace can be as spectacular as the rise. And this story is all about that fall. Some called her a bold innovator, others accused her of being the ultimate Hollywood diva. But the real question is, how did a simple casting announcement spiral into leaked messages, outraged fans, and an underperforming box office that left Hollywood reeling? Strap in, because what you're about to discover is more than a scandal. It's a cautionary tale for anyone who dares to underestimate the power of fandom. Rachel Zegler seemed to have everything going for her. She emerged from a youth spent honing her voice on social media covers and local theatrical productions, eventually landing a breakout part in a Spielberg movie. Critics praised her vocals, her presence, and her potential to become the face of a new generation in entertainment. That kind of hype doesn't come around often, especially not for a young actress who was practically unknown just a couple of years before her big break. So when Disney announced she would be the modern face of their earliest princess, the conversation kicked into high gear. Was casting someone with such a fresh perspective a stroke of genius, or a risk that might backfire if the masses didn't embrace a radical new interpretation? Official press releases teased that this Snow White remake would honor the original, but bring it into today's world. People were ready to be dazzled. The hype machine whirred as fans and skeptics debated what modernizing the classic would actually mean. But hidden beneath the excitement was a tension nobody openly discussed. If you transform a beloved fairy tale too much, you risk losing the charm that drew audiences in the first place. And if the person leading that transformation starts talking down to the fans, that's a one-way ticket to chaos. Little did anyone know that chaos was right around the corner. Nobody expects a private conversation to end up on every social media feed in existence. But that's exactly what happened. Suddenly, out of the shadows came screenshots from a group chat allegedly involving Rachel and a tight-knit circle of friends. If the rumors hold any water, these messages weren't just off-color jokes. They were downright condescending jabs at Disney's most passionate supporters, calling them obsessed, out of touch, and even cringe. Social media lit up like fireworks on the 4th of July. Skeptics at first dismissed the screenshots as digital wizardry or fabricated nonsense. But as more images surfaced, complete with partial profile pics, matching timestamps, and references that only people inside that circle would know, the possibility that these messages were genuine climbed significantly. People zeroed in on the harshest lines. They dress like cartoon animals and cry at theme parks. Fans felt singled out, ridiculed, and spat upon. Then came the twist that turned suspicion into near certainty. An acquaintance claimed they had direct proof the group chat was real, screen-recorded in real time, and leaked because of months-long drama behind the scenes. Suddenly, folks had reason to believe Rachel really had typed out those words. This was no simple slip of the tongue. It looked calculated, mean-spirited, and utterly shocking coming from someone about to portray one of Disney's most cherished characters. In the age of instant virality, a scandal can spiral within hours, and that's exactly what happened. The moment fans absorbed those alleged messages, hashtags like "Dodge to replace Rachel" and "Not My Snow White" erupted across platforms. People who once praised her vocal talent started calling her an ungrateful star who resented the very audience that built her career. Comment threads on Disney fan forums turned hostile fast. Memes spread depicting an unflattering cartoon version of Rachel mocking crowds at Disney World. Influencers who usually stick to lighthearted content began venting about how disheartening it was to see a performer trash her supporters. Even longtime Disney employees, typically non-confrontational, dropped hints that a boundary was crossed in ways the studio had never experienced before. One of the most powerful aspects of Disney's empire is its loyal base. These aren't just casual viewers. They're the ones booking tickets to theme parks, buying merchandise, and taking part in the entire brand experience. Mocking them is akin to attacking the foundation upon which much of Disney's success is built. If there's one way to spark a fan revolt, it's to belittle the people who hold up the castle. You'd think a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate like Disney would have an immediate plan for a meltdown of this magnitude. Instead, there was radio silence. No official statement condemning or denying the leaks. No heartfelt video from Rachel clarifying her comments. Just nothing. It was almost eerie. Speculation ran wild. Some believed Disney was muzzling Rachel to avoid legal complications, perhaps preparing a carefully worded statement in hopes of containing the fire. Others suspected the leaks were so damaging that Disney strategists were still in shock, scrambling behind closed doors for a solution. After all, the film was already in a precarious place, with rumored script changes and behind-the-scenes trouble. An outright Star vs. fan fiasco was the last thing anyone needed. Fans and critics alike took the silence as confirmation of guilt, or at least an unwillingness to confront the crisis. And when you let a digital mob run with a narrative, it hardened into public opinion almost overnight. Soon, even neutral observers started concluding that something dark and disrespectful might be lurking behind those polished press interviews. Disney's quiet approach backfired, fueling suspicion that the accusations had to be true. Why else wouldn't they address it? Then came the numbers. Producing a big-budget Disney remake isn't cheap, especially when you factor in reshoots, advanced CGI, and the global marketing required to push a film of this scale. Insiders whispered that the total cost might have soared beyond $250 million, and that's not counting promotional tie-ins or last-minute fixes. To break even, the film would need a mammoth haul, somewhere near the billion-dollar mark, an ambitious target even under perfect circumstances. Opening weekend arrived, and the returns were underwhelming at best, disastrous at worst. Theater lobbies were empty, and enthusiastic families, who typically show up in droves for a Disney launch, were nowhere to be found. In post-pandemic times, box office predictions already come with a measure of uncertainty, but nobody predicted an opening this feeble. Almost immediately, analysts pinned the blame on negative word of mouth. Not just the standard, "Oh, the film isn't great," but a deeper resentment. People saw the fiasco with Rachel, remembered her mocking interviews, and thought, why spend money supporting someone who disrespects fans? Online boards were flooded with testimonies from parents refusing to take their kids, longtime Disney enthusiasts swearing off the film, and younger audiences who found the entire controversy more entertaining than the trailer. By the second week, the film's box office tumbled even harder, solidifying its status as one of the biggest misfires in Disney's modern history. In the midst of the sinking box office, Rachel reappeared online in ways that baffled onlookers. Instead of a sincere apology or a heartfelt explanation, she posted what many perceived as smug or tone-deaf videos. One in particular became infamous, Rachel strolling into a nearly empty theater, holding branded merch and jokingly asking for tickets. The deadpan response, "For which movie?" sounded scripted, but it landed with a thud among viewers already irritated by her attitude. What could have been a chance to show humility and acknowledge mistakes turned into a PR catastrophe. Her grin, the playful tone, the forced humor, it all read as mocking the very failure that fans held her responsible for. Comment sections exploded with remarks like, "She's laughing at us," and "She still doesn't get it." People dissected every smirk, analyzing whether she was ironically self-aware or simply detached from the reality of a doomed film. On top of that, older social media posts resurfaced, painting her as divisive and politically charged. She attacked entire swaths of viewers, from certain fandom communities to supporters of specific politicians. While freedom of speech is never the issue, her approach, dismissing millions of potential viewers as dangerous or ignorant, only confirmed suspicions that she held the general public in low regard. Instead of bridging the gap, these re-uploads widened it into a canyon. Naturally, conspiracy theories soon followed. Some argued that Disney had leaked the chat themselves, an elaborate plan to justify dropping Rachel and recasting the role or quietly shelving the film's promotional push. Others claimed Rachel's own team might have orchestrated a fake leak story, hoping to discredit the screenshots as doctored once the controversy peaked. Behind closed doors, the atmosphere reportedly turned toxic. Rumors emerged of friction between Rachel and her co-stars, including high-profile names who were reluctant to publicly support her. Word of potential spats over political statements circulated, fueled by the fact that at least one other lead, in the film had strong views that clashed with Rachel's. Disney staffers, from executives to interns, were said to be walking on eggshells, uncertain whether siding with or against Rachel would cost them professionally. At the corporate level, phone lines allegedly burned with urgent calls from anxious investors. The meltdown wasn't just about one actress's reputation. It was about the potential of an entire brand overshadowed by a PR fiasco. If Snow White could fail, what else might be at risk in Disney's pipeline of live-action reimaginings? Tension grew, and talk of sweeping policy changes to avoid future fiascos swirled in the halls of the Magic Kingdom. In the past decade, Disney's formula for live-action remakes seemed unstoppable. Take a cherished animated classic, cast an up-and-coming star or two, add modern twists, and watch the cash pour in. But the Snow White debacle shook the industry from top to bottom. If a once surefire strategy could flop so hard, studios had to ask, is it the content, the casting, or the backlash from an audience tired of being lectured? Reports from behind the scenes hinted at an evolving corporate mindset. Marketing execs were told to tread carefully with any plot changes that appear to undermine iconic story elements. Writers started rethinking scripts for upcoming reboots, scaling back any heavy-handed messaging that might alienate the core fan base. Casting departments reevaluated the social media profiles of potential stars, wary of another meltdown. Rumors even suggested Disney was quietly reevaluating entire projects to ensure no future actress or actor would land them in a situation like this again. Meanwhile, Rachel's career prospects fell into a strange limbo. Offers for major franchises dried up or got put on hold. Fans debated whether she deserved redemption or if her name was now synonymous with arrogance and controversy. Some championed a second chance. Everyone makes mistakes after all, while others believed her disrespect toward fans was unforgivable. In Hollywood, reputations can change overnight, and hers had gone from promising to problematic in record time. So here we are, an actress on the brink of superstardom, now facing the fallout of leaked chats, a furious fan base, and a blockbuster flop that rattled the House of Mouse. The unraveling of Rachel Zegler's public image isn't just a cautionary tale for celebrities, it's a wake-up call for every studio banking on nostalgia and fandom goodwill. One misstep, one ill-advised joke at the expense of loyal supporters, and the entire production can go off the rails. Is this the end of big-budget fairy tale reimaginings? Or can Disney bounce back by refocusing on the charm and sincerity that made its classics beloved in the first place? In an era where every slip becomes a trending hashtag, authenticity might be the only currency that still matters. The fans hold the power, and ignoring their voice could topple even the mightiest of cultural empires. Whether Rachel finds a pathway to redemption or remains a symbol of Hollywood hubris remains to be seen. What's certain is that the story of her rise and fall will echo as a reminder: treat your audience with respect, or risk losing the kingdom you fought so hard to claim. If you enjoyed uncovering this wild Hollywood meltdown and want to stay on top of every new twist, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more drama, and ring the bell so you won't miss a single chapter in this ongoing saga.